Devon for a Saturday afternoon. It's James Vickery with you. I'm now inside the inner workings of the Royal Albert Memorial Museum in Exeter, and as you can probably hear in the background, there's an awful lot of work going on here today. I'm with the museum's manager, Camilla Hampshire. Camilla, as we were walking through, we've got our hard hat, goggles, high visibility vests on. You really do get a feel of just how big this project is.
You do. There's an awful lot of scaffolding involved, an awful lot of walls being built. It's really sort of major surgery for this building.
Now, although I used to come to the museum quite regularly as a young child, I had absolutely no idea where we're standing, what it used to be. Just explain to us where we are at the moment.
Well, we're standing actually at the heart of the museum, and it's a bit of the museum that most visitors wouldn't have seen. Because if you remember, when you used to come to the museum, you used to do a circuit of galleries. So you start at the sort of front entrance hall, and you'd either turn left or right.
That's right. And
then you'd re-emerge after having gone around the galleries, you'd re-emerge in the entrance hall. And this was on both levels. And the middle of the circuit, the sort of the hole in the donut of the ground plan of the museum, was actually a big open central courtyard space, which is open to the sky and goes from the sort of ground floor level all the way up to the top of the building. And it really was a sort of service yard for the museum. And originally it was built probably as a light well, because many people will know that this building was originally built as a museum, library and school of art. And it's got sort of glazed white tiles on some of the walls. And the idea was that they built a bounce light into inner rooms of the building. Over its 140-year history, various ground floor buildings have been built into this courtyard, sort of basically service buildings. It was a part of the building that visitors never used to see at all. But for us, it's a fantastic opportunity to use this as the hub of the building. So we're creating a big new gallery here, so it's been roofed over. Also it's allowing us to create routes through the building that go from front to back and back to front. So that instead of following a prescribed route when you come to the museum, of following this sort of chain of pearls of galleries as you go around, you'll be able to explore the museum in the way that you want.
And it's really quite a big open space that wasn't used before.
It is a very big open space, and it's going to have an absolutely massive display case, a 2-storey display case, which is just behind you here. You've got to exercise a bit of imagination at the moment because there's a lot of scaffolding, but there will be this huge display case here. Obviously you'll be able to view it from the ground floor, but you'll also be able to view it from the bridge on the first floor. And this is going to have a very varied selection of objects from the collection. What we're saying is that this is 1/10,000th of the collection. So it's a sample of the sorts of things that you'll be able to see in the other displays. So it's going to be a really impressive gallery, this. Quite a sort of eye-opener for people.
The question on my mind at the moment is, we're standing here in this empty shell.
Yeah.
It used to be full of exhibits. Where are they at the moment?
Well, of course, we were talking about this project taking 8 years, but part of those 8 years we've also built an entirely new off-site store. And we had to build that first so that we could decant all of the collection from this building into that store and empty it before the contractor came on board.
How do you get the exhibits from the Ark to the museum, or how will you do that?
Well, a lot of museums, when we did this big move, a lot of museums on doing similar projects actually bring in specialist companies to do it, and they bring in the huge Pantechnicon wagons and just load everything on and then ship them out. Because our site is so difficult and we can't get very big vehicles up behind the back of the museum, we decided, well, an external company would have to use small vehicles. We can hire small vehicles. So the whole museum team, with some added help, actually shifted the collections.
One thing that struck me about talking to you this afternoon is the fact you are so passionate about this project. What's your background? Where were you before you came to the RAMM and were head of the museum?
Well, I've been working in museums since I was 16. I started off as a volunteer. I've moved up and down the country working for different museums. So most recently I was in Sheffield before I came down to Exeter and got this wonderful opportunity to work on this fantastic project.
How does the Royal Albert Memorial Museum compare with the others you've worked at?
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to come to Exeter was because this is such a fantastic museum. It's got a wonderful building, very special museum building, but also it has amazing collections. We're incredibly lucky down here. We've got an internationally important collection, World Cultures collection, fantastic archaeological and natural history collections, very important collections. So this scheme really is to show more of those collections to more people.
What was that spark when you were a young child that made you think, I really want to work in museums? What triggered it for you?
I think what interests me is that interaction between history and people. So I am interested in all sort of research aspects of history, but I'm also interested in how ordinary people learn from history, enjoy history, are inspired by history.
And your job here at the moment, you are head of the museum, this big project's going on. I imagine you don't get an awful lot of time to switch off from it.
No, you do live and breathe a project like this.
Sounds like the builders have just come back from their tea break. One final question to you. I understand that part of the project and part of the build here will involve a time capsule which local people are going to contribute to. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, one of the interesting things about this project is various bits of the museum have been stripped out. For instance, some wall linings were stripped out. On the back of it was one of the workers' signatures and the date. And it did make us think, wouldn't it have been fantastic if we'd known a bit more about that person, because all we've got is the signature and the date. And so what we're trying to put into our capsule is 1,000 thoughts. And it's 1,000 thoughts of the people of Exeter and Devon. And so there are opportunities there for people to say what's on their mind. The question is, what's on your mind? And then tell us a bit about yourself. And that will be put into the time capsule, so that whenever that time capsule is retrieved, people will have a wonderful insight into the lives and concerns of people of 2009.
Very noisy, as you could probably hear there. Camilla Hampshire from the Royal Albert Memorial Museum in Exeter talking to me earlier this week.